Hey everyone, it's great to be starting this live, and today we've got Eyal from bloXroute. The theme of today's live stream is how can BSC validators and traders improve network connectivity to boost performance? And as you know, there's been a few themes to support this topic. More recently, the P2P network latency has been hindering quite a lot of blockchains' ability to scale and provide users with frictionless experience. There's been a bunch of studies showing that validators and traders tend to be more productive when they can hear new blocks and transactions much sooner. And we've run a few pilots that shows that BSC validators can hear new blocks up to 200 milliseconds sooner by using bloXroute technology. So with that, I'd like to introduce and give the floor to Eyal from bloXroute to tell us a bit more. So maybe we start with telling us who bloXroute is and what you do, Eyal.
Thanks, Alex. First of all, nice meeting you, and I'm happy to be here. So let's understand first that bloXroute solution is obviously based on very fast and efficient network. Okay, so we created a blockchain distribution network. We called it BDN, blockchain distribution network. It's basically a set of fast relay that form a global network and propagate data very fast across the world. So when I'm talking about data, I'm talking about obviously blocks. I'm talking about transactions. And I'm talking about internal data that we are using in order to propagate blocks and transactions very fast to all the different ends of the network. So with that, that's the kind of like the core technology. With the BDN, we were able now to come with a set of tools for trader. We called it the DeFi trading tools, where we are allowing people to hear about things that are happening in the network, like to hear about new blocks, to hear about pending transaction very fast, much faster than using the peer-to-peer network. So if you think about bloXroute customer, then obviously you'll see mining pools, you'll see validator, you'll see DApps, you'll see exchanges, you'll see wallet, but most importantly, you're going to see traders. Okay, that's the main use case that we are currently working with the users.
Got it. And could you share a bit what accomplishments has bloXroute achieved so far, and what was your recipe for success to getting to that level of like efficiency and speed?
Okay, so I think if we want to talk about what we accomplished so far, we need to talk about Ethereum. So we although we actually started with supporting Bitcoin Cash, but there was just not a match because Bitcoin Cash does not have any transactions, any needs for a very high performance network. We then started to support Ethereum, and about it's been a little bit more than a year. We went live with the BDN for Ethereum. On the mining side, on the mining pool side, we see the pools that are being using us, and the majority of the pools are using us. They saw a major drop in their forks, in their uncle rate. So, for example, if we talk about the F2 pool, which I think is now with all the changes that are happening on Ethereum, I think it's either number 1 or number 2 in terms of the hash rate. They have seen a drop of about 50% in their uncle rate, in the amount of forks that they are creating, starting to use our technology. In terms of the, so this is on the mining pool. In terms of the streaming or the DeFi tool set that I talked about earlier, in Ethereum, we are by far the leader in terms of mempool services. So there were quite a lot of research. One of them is a project called KeeperDAO, which basically measure our performance with other like Block Native, with Alchemy, and so on. And there was no question that I think about 90%, 95% of the important transaction came from the BDN first. So as a trader on Ethereum, it's become if you want to hear about transaction very fast, if you want to hear about new blocks very fast, if your strategy is arbitrage after a new block or arbitrage as a result of pending transaction, it's become important to have a BlocksRoute integrated into your infrastructure. So on top of that, we introduced new tools on Ethereum around front running protection, and I think we can talk about that later with regard to BSC. So introducing front running protection, introducing offering our trader access to MEV, and again we can talk about that later with regard to BSC. And finally, we came with on one hand we have the connection to the pools that we have. Very good connection, direct connection of the BDN to the pools. On the other side, we have the traders. Some of them are DeFi trader, like more maybe personal, but some of them are sophisticated arbitrage searcher. So we then came with, I think, a very nice idea coming from the team of ability to background transaction. I can talk a little bit more about that later, and actually pay back the user. So if somebody in Ethereum is now swapping tokens and is paying $100 transaction fee, that user might get back. First of all, that user is not going to get front run, so it's protected, but it might even get back $300 as a result without even knowing about it. So this is a great tool, utility or product that we brought to the Ethereum. It's called Background Me, and I'm hoping that in the future we'll be able to introduce it to the BSC as well. It's great for the pool, so it will be great for the validator and BSC. It's great for the community, and it's great for everyone.
That's very interesting. And as you mentioned, you've done Ethereum, got some features on Ethereum that are still to come on BSC. But given that BSC is the second blockchain BlocksRoute supports, why did you choose BSC as your next chain to work with?
Okay, that's a good question, and honestly, Alex, we didn't pick BSC. Our user, our customer picked it for us. So all the customer, Ethereum customer that we are serving, a lot of them start asking us about BSC. And I remember I contacted a few and I said, why BSC? And they said, okay, BSC, a lot more transaction than Ethereum, okay? The fees are much lower than Ethereum, so it makes sense to trade on BSC. And there are no solution right now. So for me, it was a no-brainer that if the community is open for our service on BSC, if we'll get the cooperation from the validator to move our technology to BSC, if we'll get a cooperation from the BSC Foundation as well, then we should move to support BSC, and that's actually why we we did the pilot, and I'm hoping we can talk about the pilot soon. And I think the pilot is over, so I think we are there. We're seeing great results on BSC, and from my point of view, the BSC community should now start taking advantage of the BDN the same way that the Ethereum is doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure the BSC community would love to explore, what bloXroute can do for them. And I was keen to maybe understand a bit more, what does bloXroute offer to the BSC community, compared, if we were to compare it to Ethereum. I think you mentioned a few things that are still to come for BSC that you already had built for Ethereum. But how does the roadmap look there, and is there anything you could share around that?
Okay, so if you think about what the BSC will get from bloXroute, I think it will be eventually it's going to be three things. Okay, it's going to be faster and better infrastructure. It will be, I think for the validator, it's actually going to be better revenue. Okay, so more revenue, so that's important as well. And I think it's going to, for the community itself, it's actually going to increase the usage of the network by very good institutional and retail traders. So let me go over that real quickly. So better infrastructure. I think that's the BDN that I described. That's basically means for the validator to be able to propagate their block much faster. Okay. And to hear about other validator blocks much faster. And this is very important when you think about, remember in Ethereum, it's 10 seconds between blocks. In BSC, it's much slower. So it's become critical. And that by itself, it can save money for the validator, because now validator maybe can invest less in infrastructure for networking, because they can utilize utilize the BDN. So that's a better infrastructure for validator, but it's also better infrastructure for the traders. Okay. So if you want to hear about pending transaction, about what I call trigger transaction, and we can talk maybe if we have time a little bit about what's essential for a trader and why bloXroute can help the DeFi trader on BSC. But if they want to hear, if you want to compete, if you in a DeFi, you want to hear about the trigger transaction, about very important transaction, very fast, and bloXroute is by far the fastest solution to give you that. So that's basically infrastructure. In terms of revenue, so revenue will come, if you talk just about a validator, I think it will come from several areas. So first of all, they will get access fast to the good transactions. Okay, so that by itself makes them more efficient. That will make by itself makes them works better. Second, and this is services that we have on Ethereum that do not exist right now on BSC, and we can talk about what needs to happen in order to introduce them to BSC. There are services that we offer on Ethereum, like private transaction, okay, that are actually paying the miner, or paying the pools, and can pay the validator fee. And the idea for private transaction is that if somebody is swapping tokens, as an example, and that swap is subject to being front run, okay, then the user needs to be protected somehow. Protection can be achieved using our private transaction solution. So the user will send it to bloXroute. bloXroute will send the transaction using the BDN just to the validator. So validator will accept the transaction, get it into the transaction pool, to the mempool, will not send it to the other peer. So that's the big change that private transaction is introducing. Don't send it to the other peers. Just get it into your Sentry node or your validator node and keep it there. And once the transaction is mined in the block, the user is protected. So this is a service that users are willing to pay. I have right now a very large trader on Ethereum, thousands of transactions a day, that is willing to support it to do it on BSC as soon as the BSC is as soon as it's ready on BSC. So in order for this to work, we need a few things. First of all, we need to have enough validator connected to the BDN. So because if somebody is sending a transaction and it's going to take 5 blocks until it reaches a validator that is connected to the BDN, it's going to be too late. So we need enough hash rate, enough set of validator connected to the BDN. We need the validator to support the BSC private transaction, and that will increase the revenue for the validator. That's no question. So this is one thing. The second thing is introducing MEV, similar to Ethereum, in a way that well, MEV as a subject is a very sensitive topic, right? I like to view as MEV as there is a good MEV and bad MEV. Okay, yeah. Good MEV is that a good MEV is if it's controlled, if the community knows what's happening, if it's if there is no things that if there are a set of rules, if validator or pools are following the rules and not doing things that are fishy, and this is happening now on Ethereum, at least as best as we can, and we are part of it. We are participating in it, and we are happy to participate on that with BSC as well. So that's more revenue. And the last thing is more usage. As I mentioned, I think if we are going to introduce the private transaction, the MEV, there will be quite a lot of traders that are not trading on BSC today because they don't have the ability to hide their transaction, because they don't have the ability to control their transactions, that will move to BSC and will bring more revenue to the ecosystem.
Got it. That's amazing. So, as much as I appreciate, I guess the community also appreciates the whether that's the infrastructure part, the revenue, or more transactions. That's something of great value to the BSC community, and I'm sure they'll agree. Actually, we had a couple of comments saying this is an amazing project from our audience just now. So that's great.
Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Darley. Yeah, it's great to have those kind of comments, I'm sure. Yeah, so you mentioned the BSC pilot a bit earlier. Should we cover that part as well?
Yeah.
You could tell us a bit more about the pilot and what happened there, and what does it mean for the validators?
Right. So I want to be honest with you. So when we started with on Ethereum, we got quite a lot of projects reaching out to us, wanted us to support their network. Okay, and we were very, very conservative in moving and supporting new network because of what happened with the Bitcoin Cash. Okay, because we spent quite a lot of research at supporting Bitcoin Cash. We had a great performance, we had a great results, but there was no use. Okay, there were simply no need for our services on Bitcoin Cash. So we didn't want to make the same mistake. And once customers start reaching out to us and wanted to have support for BSC, we, on one end, there was clear it was very clear because we heard it from our customer that there is a need for bloXroute for BSC, but we wanted to be very, very, very careful. We wanted to make sure that if we are supporting BSC, that it will be a successful transition. So this is why in June we came with the BSC BDN, or the BDN, the Blockchain Distribution Network for BSC. We selected, or actually they selected to participate in the pilot 3 validators, and the goal was, one, to verify that validator on BSC can use the technology. 2, that traders are getting values out of it, okay, and that everything is working as we thought that it will. So the result that we've seen with three validators was on their side, on their infrastructure side, their blocks were propagating, and we simply measure the time of blocks with and without the BDN. The BDN was propagating their blocks, it's depending on the location, but 50 to 200 milliseconds faster. So 50 to 200 milliseconds faster on blockchain network. It's a huge, okay. And remember that a block average on BSC is not 10 seconds. Okay, so 200 milliseconds saving, it's a lot of, like in percentage, it's quite a lot of it's like it can be 10% saving on between blocks. So this was one thing. The second thing we want to check is if it's hard for the validator to connect to our BDN. And actually, I remember one of the kind of like the leading validator participating in the pilot was Anchor, and I remember Anchor CTO mentioning that it actually took them 5 minutes to connect to the BDN. Okay, so that was very reassuring, because on Ethereum it's just one. On Ethereum it was just one mining pool. In BSC you have the Sentry, you have the validator node. We wanted to confirm 5 minutes for the validator. I'm telling you, after my experience with other validator, a validator that want to join the network, in 1 hour is all done. Okay, so it's very simple, it's very effective. And the second thing, so that was on the validator side. On the traders, again, we wanted to make sure that people are getting value out of this service, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the amount of traders that joined the network. It was we basically and this was like a 3 months effort. So every 2 weeks we run a benchmark. How did we run a benchmark? We start a BSC node, okay, fresh BSC node, 200 peers, and we stream. We started our profiling application, and we checked how many transactions the benchmark application is hearing from the BSC node versus the BDN. Okay, and when we started the pilot, there were no nodes connected to the BDN. It was around 5%. 5% of the transaction arriving to the benchmark from the BDN. Now, after all the validator and the trader joined the network, we are at 90%. 90% of the transactions on a node with 200 peers arriving to the benchmark. Benchmark program, think about it as a bot for a trader. So a bot in a trader bot with our technology can expect to get 80-90% of the transaction from the BDN first before it will get it from the peer-to-peer. So that's basically all we wanted to see from the pilot. It was very successful. Now hopefully with the help of the foundation, which I'm very grateful, and like this is the video is a good example. We can reach to more validators to join the network, and we can introduce the private transaction and the MEV, and we can expand the offering.
Got it. We love the pilot went super well on BSC, so that's great. It got a lot of economic value to the validators, but also the traders as well. So we think that the community appreciate it as much as we do on our side. And we actually got another member of the audience sending thanks to you, Eyal. So
thank you.
I appreciate. Yeah. So if we were to move on, what does any validator or anyone else need to actually do to tap into the BlocksRoute network?
Okay. So there is a difference between someone like a validator or a trader that is running a BSC node and someone that does not have a BSC node. So I'm going to talk here just about someone that is running a BSC node. If somebody that doesn't have a BSC node, that's something else, and can reach out to me later, and I'm happy to explain. So a validator that running a BSC node, and I said it's 5 minutes it took Anchor. My average is 1 hour work. Okay. All they need to do is in order to connect to the BDN, you need to have a program or component called the gateway. It's the gateway to the BDN, and it's something that you attach the gateway to your node, and that gateway connects you to the BDN. So BlocksRoute, as a service to the validator, we offer the ability to host the gateway on our end. Okay, so even the validator don't even need to introduce any new software into their infrastructure. It's basically the only thing they need to do is to connect the gateway to their Sentry node. How is the gateway connected to the Sentry node? Just like any other BSC node. So all they need to do is to get from us the e-node of the gateway. They need to provide us the e-node of the Sentry, and then we are going to point the gateway to their Sentry node, and they need to connect to make the gateway as a trusted peer. So they need to provide the e-node of the Sentry, and they need to run one command to add the gateway as trusted peer, and that's it. 5 minutes of work. Because of the communication, it's taking 1 hour, but it's really literally 5 minutes of work. That's all they need to do, and it's the same for it's basically the same for any trader. Obviously, BlocksRoute here wants to also to pay salary for our employees, so there is like a monthly a plan that somebody needs to purchase in order to be able to use the BDN. But lately it's going to take 1 hour for a trader to connect their trading bot to the BDN and start in seeing improved performance.
Amazing. The 5 minute setup is very impressive, and I'm sure a lot of people will try and beat that as well, if possible, even faster.
Maybe we should do a contest.
Yes, that's a good idea for sure.
Yeah.
We'll just time people, see who gets
exactly
the faster. Yeah. So one of our audience members showed some this appreciation to front runners. And my next question is around that. So, front running protection is quite a relatively new concept, at least to the BSC community. So what would you want to share on that? Like, what do you think the audience should know about it?
Okay, so first of all, I think there's nothing that can be done. Okay, in terms of it is we this is the way that BSC, Ethereum, Polygon is designed. The fact that you can have visibility into the mempool before the transaction is being executed, you have the ability to see what's going to happen, allow front running. Okay, so I think we in the community needs to understand that front running is part of the design. Okay, so if we want to reduce front running, we simply and it's part of the design because the transactions are being sent over the peer-to-peer and it's public. So if we want to avoid front running, it's simply not to send the transaction over the peer-to-peer as public transaction. Okay, so as I mentioned before, we have and on Ethereum, we are not the only solution, by the way. There are other solutions. The other solutions are using a little bit different strategy than ours. They're using more MEV. We offer private transaction channel to mining pool and MEV together. So I'm hoping that in the future on BSC, we're going to see both the MEV solution and BlocksRoute private transaction solution. Together, I think there is use cases why trader will use private transaction from BlocksRoute. There's use cases why a trader will use MEV solution for privacy. Some of them are different use cases, so it makes sense to have both. Okay, BlocksRoute by itself on Ethereum is giving our user both the private transaction and the MEV. So the MEV on Ethereum, it's still a service that we offer to our users. So I'm happy to see both of those on BSC. Once we have that, and it's not going to happen next week, but it's steps. So I think step number one is to get the BDN deployed for BSC with all the validators. Step number two is to introduce maybe the private transaction and the MEV into the BSC code path. Okay, to include it as part of the BSC code, Sentry or validator, and then start building that. So hopefully, it's the like if the community is going to push that. If the validators are going to join, and we can make this happen quickly, and I think it's going to be a great thing for the traders because it's going to protect them. It's going to be a good thing for the validator, of course, because they're going to make more revenue, and I think it's going to make the BSC network feel more like a trusted network. Okay, because there will be less of the front running, there will be less of the fishy behavior, things that are hard to understand what's going to happen, what is there like somebody is paying someone to do something. I think that will definitely going to help the BSC to gain more credibility.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure at least one member of our audience appreciates that a lot, but I'm sure everyone is as much as we are very excited about this. As you mentioned, there's like great advantage from what you're offering to the BSC community, and both on the validator side and the trader side. Everyone is getting some great use from what you're building. So
thank you.
So in terms of like, where do you see BlocksRoute's future in the BSC ecosystem. What are your thoughts on that, and where do you think you'll be kind of in the near term and maybe longer term as well, if you could share your thoughts?
Okay, I'll share my thoughts, and it's also my hope. Okay, it's not just my okay. It's not just depend on us. So, first of all, I'm hoping that BlocksRoute will become a true partner to BSC on improving the infrastructure. Okay, so just improving the infrastructure, the ability to trade better. That's, I think it's. When you think about trading, you wanna. It's basically two things. You want to identify opportunity fast, and you want to execute fast. So I think BlocksRoute can definitely partner with the BSC community to provide a better infrastructure to achieve both of those things: to identify what is happening fast and to execute very fast. And for the validator point of view, again, it's basically the same thing: to identify other blocks, other transaction fast, and to execute fast on their blocks. So it's the same thing. So this is on the infrastructure, improving, using our technology to improve the infrastructure. And then when coming with new feature, new things that the BSC network does not have today, as we talked a lot about the front run protection. We talked a lot about I think MEV. We can talk about the other feature that we offer in Ethereum. As I mentioned, you can all look on backrunme.com or backrunme, the ability to backrun a transaction, not to front run, protect the users from front running, but allow them to get profit from front running. Just think about the concept of somebody going to PancakeSwap, swapping to token, very nervous whether it's going to get front run or not. Complete the transaction, looking and see, wow, I did not get a front run, there's no slippage, and wow, I got $500 for someone. This is backrunme, okay? And so I'm hoping to partner with exchanges. I'm hoping to partner with DApps, okay, to integrate with our services for protection, to integrate our service on services that are going to give back to the community.
That's amazing. I really love the your description of going to PancakeSwap and not having the full trust and an expectation that there is no slippage or any other issues related to front running. So it's amazing that BlocksRoute is helping with offering that level of trust. So look, we've covered quite a lot of very interesting topics and areas on so far. Maybe there is something that you wanted to share that I haven't asked about or we haven't covered so far. Anything that we should know, and the audience might be very useful for them to hear from you?
The only thing is, I think we covered at least what I wanted to talk about. The only thing is that we didn't talk about our BlocksRoute philosophy for success, and I don't want to talk about it because I think it's gonna maybe sound a little bit too in the air, but we definitely believe in customer first. Okay, so this is like if you are a trader, if you are a BSC user, and you hear this, you listen to this, you see that presentation, and you have questions, just reach out. You can reach out to me directly. You can reach out to the team. We can find us on Discord. This is where we're active. You can find us on the web, and just send an email, and I'm guaranteed that you're going to get a reply. That's all.
Amazing. So to everyone that will be watching this afterwards, which I'm sure a lot of people will, hopefully, we'd like to encourage you to reach out to either or directly to Eyal or BSC, and we'll make the intro there. So do not hesitate, because this is a really unique and very exciting project as part of the BSC community, and we love having had this chance to getting Eyal on this live stream so far. So we've learned a lot of great insights. And with that, I know we have a few minutes left, but I'll see if the audience has any other questions. I think so far we've had just more comments about appreciation of the project, thanking the bloXroute team and you, Eyal, for what you're building. So it's amazing that people are seeing that. Otherwise, I think we could potentially wrap up the live stream. And I'd like to thank everyone who's managed to connect and listen into this live stream. And I'd like to thank you, Eyal, for making the time. And we're very excited to have you on board as part of the BSC community and helping actually the BSC community grow and become more secure and more bringing in some trustworthiness and frictionless with what bloXroute is building.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex, for having me, and it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you, everyone who connected. Really appreciate. Bye.